Yes, okay, so proper onboarding makes an impact on your employee loyalty and retention and also their performance. And that's why we are here. And those numbers you can see are just a confirmation. So how to make your onboarding great? It is totally possible with Atlassian tools and extensions. So you don't need any extra tools for onboarding. You can use what you all already have. And now I have a quick poll with only one question, just to check the temperature in our room. So please answer. Let's see how many of you have ever used any Atlassian tool in onboarding. And we're moving on. So you should see it. You can vote right now. Okay, some of you Confluence is at the top. Okay, so Jira Service Management 1, then Confluence, then Jira Work Management, but some of you haven't used it at all. But that's okay. Okay, so thank you for that. Let's close it. And let's kick in. Okay, so for Jira Work Management, when you're using it, you don't have to start from a blank project. You have a dedicated one. You can also customize your workflow, like always in Jira, but there is also a default one crafted for onboarding. With board like this, training tasks can be organized into some columns that are customizable and can represent different stages of the onboarding process. And in each project in Jira Work Management, you can you have a calendar view, which you can find in the project's top navigation bar. And with this calendar, you can plan your onboarding agenda, ensure you won't miss anything, and just picture your plans. In case of Jira Service Management, this tool offers you an already prepared onboarding request type. So with a few clicks, new hires can request a new laptop, for example, without the need to hand down the correct department. And also they can track the progress of the ticket at any time. And to ensure that your onboarding tickets are served on the time, you can create a special queue in the project. Confluence is our knowledge hub, space for all training materials, company cultures, values, company procedures, payments. So you can create a perfect introduction with that tool and also use it multiple times, of course. And it's easy to edit, not like some slides. And now the last hot topic with AI, you can help yourself in preparing these training materials in Confluence, but also you can make it easier on your new hires by summarizing the Confluence pages. So that is how it looks like. And now it's time to go a little bit beyond that. So I'm stopping sharing my screen, and Chris, please, stage is yours.
Hey, thank you very much. Thank you for this introduction, Selina. I'm very pleased to be here and share a little bit about one of our app, of course, Issue Templates Agent. But I'm also looking for two other solutions provided by our partners. So hopefully we'll see very interesting and the different approaches to the onboarding in Jira. So I will start sharing my screen. So hopefully everything will work well. So yeah, do you see marketplace listing?
Yes, we do.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so I heard that I have only like 10 to 15 minutes, right? So it's not a lot. So I will try to share a short story about onboarding with the issue template agent. So basically, this app it's one of our newest app. It's written in Forge, which is very important in terms of data residency questions and the performance questions and security questions, of course. And it's very simple, and it works on the native Jira scripts, which is very unique comparing to other templating solutions. So one of the use case, which I also mentioned, is of course new employee onboarding, but this solution can be very useful in other use cases as well, like templates for the back reports or templates for the OKRs in your company, or for any other task that is the same or looks very similar and it's created over and over again. So the best way to show the app and our solution, in this case, the onboarding solution, is just to show it in action. So I'm on my test Jira instance. So the very common thing is to create a new issue, right? So I just click the create button, and there is a human resources Appsvio project selected with the Epic as the issue type. And I didn't click anything else, but as you can see, there are some values auto-completed here, and here, and here. So it means that the template has been applied. So in our use case, when a new employee comes to our company, we can simply create a new ticket from template, and the template could be called the onboarding template, or it could be anything else. The thing is that when I click create, and when I go to this issue, so you will see that after seconds, a child issue has been created. And once I enter the child issue, you can see that there are two additional issues created. So those two issues are the subtasks. When I enter any of them, you will see a value that has been assigned from the template. So there's empty description here, so maybe it's not the best example. But when I come back to the Epic issue, you'll see a description that has been auto-completed to that Epic. So it's a very simple and easy tool to create issues from templates with child issues and with the subtasks as well. So you can create a whole structure, like beginning from the Epic through the stories, ending on the subtasks, very easily. And the best thing, which I also mentioned, is that it works on the native create issue screen. So this is super cool. So you might have a questions how the template is defined, because you see that there are some values here. There's some date here, probably it's a counter date, so you're right. So let's see how it's defined within the issue template agent app. So now I'm going to the templates library, or it could be called the templates list. It really doesn't matter. It's just a page when we list of all templates within the Jira instance. There's also permission configuration here, so you can define who should have access to this page. By default, is visible to all Jira users. And let's find our template that was used in my example. So to do this, I will use a filter, and I will filter templates based on the project assignment. So sorry, it's not. It was human resources Appsvio. So I select this one, and now there should be one template listed. That's right. There are some columns here. So it's like a simple table with all necessary details, like list of fields that are predefined or auto-completed in a template. And there's also a list of child templates including the subtasks, right? So this is a very easy to identify and to find your template that you are looking for. When you click on the three dots menu and edit template, we are going to the this kind of editor. It's something new that we have developed recently. So in the short, what is configuration of the template? So on the first tab, I defined the all templates details, like the place or the project and the issue types where the template is available. I can also select as a default option. And if this checkbox is selected, it means that the template will be applied automatically without any additional clicking. And on the next session, I have fields, like these are the fields that will be auto-completed when I select a template from the list. So by default, it's a summary and description, but I can also use other fields and custom fields from Jira. Some of you might notice that there is a variable here. This is a very special expression, so the expression will be evaluated into the value during applying the template. List of the variables is listed in our documentation. In this case, it's $today, so it will be evaluated to today's date. Then we have a description, and then we have a category which might help templates admin to manage manage the list of templates. On the second tab, we have a sub templates. So as you remember, we had one child template, which is called prepare onboarding materials. And when I expand this one, you'll see two additional subtasks. Those are the templates as well. When I expand the first subtask, you will see all data or all fields that are that will be auto-completed for this subtask. I can modify the templates. Of course, I can add more fields to the template scope. I can modify the summary template. So basically, it's more like editing the regular issues, but there are no issues. There are just the templates. There's also a toggle here, so which allows us to disable the template. So if it's disabled, no one can apply this template on the create screen. It might be useful when we have a huge template to design, and it takes a while. Then I can disable it, and it will not be available to the Jira users. So this was a very short introduction to the issue templates agent configuration, and you saw how it can be used. Of course, the new employee onboarding is one of the examples. There are more examples, and the list of use cases is almost unlimited. So if you see any other use case for this, do not hesitate to try. It's a very simple app to install and run. Yeah, so I think this is everything that I wanted to show you regarding the issue templates. I hope that you liked how it works. And yeah, I will stop sharing my screen.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, I'm sharing. Thank you.
Okay, Malek, your turn.
Awesome. Okay, so thanks all of you for joining and thanks for the invitation. So my name is Malek. I'm the CPO of Vectors, and I have been invited today to talk about Confluence and how it can handle perfectly the documentation and everything related to the onboarding process. I think that we cannot talk about onboarding without talking about knowledge base, because we do, all of us know that, for example, if you do have a manager or someone who is helping you in the onboarding process, he's not going to be available on a 24-hour basis. So probably you will have questions, you will have something to check, or a guide to or steps to follow, or whatever which is related to your hiring process you want to check. And this is where the knowledge base is really important during the onboarding process. And I think Confluence is one of the best tools recently that manage this onboarding. It's a collaboration tool made for communication and for structuring. So for people who do not know Confluence, briefly, it's a wiki. It doesn't look really like a wiki, but on the other hand, it's really a wiki. It's based on pages that can be created from scratch, or based on templates where you can put whatever you want. For example, this is an example of a page. You can put images, media, content, text, tables, and even with very, very rich content, which is called the macros, small widgets. And those pages can be structured on an unlimited hierarchy. You can have a parent and a child, unlimited depth. And then all this is capsulated or is grouped by a space, so which is the container. This model gives you a very flexible model to structure your onboarding guides, for example, onboarding how-tos. I don't know, for example, the test checks, and especially for your FAQs. To give you an example on how you can structure or a small sample of an onboarding process, or space, I created this space. So here I named it UK onboarding. So within my space, it's really, really important to take care of your landing page. So here I created this space, and then I modelized, or I updated this landing page. I added some visuals. I added an introduction point. So try to split your landing page on sections. This way people can read them easily, can get information very easily, not just putting some text and very long text within the pages. And then within this landing page, generally the experts do advise to add, for example, information about the persons who can help you on your onboarding process. Here, for example, for my company, I listed some people that I can contact if I do have questions, and so. And I added a section where people can contact us as HR department, for example. I added the email, the Slack channel, and also, which is good, something which is good with Confluence, you can add comments on pages by mentioning the persons and the employees, so they will get notification and they can reply to question if you do have. And then for the resources that I will be organizing in my space, generally, and the experts on the domain do say that you do have those very resources that are repeating every time if you check also on the internet related. So generally, we really encourage people to create the employee handbook. So here, for example, in my space, I created a page that I called the employee handbook. And if we check it, I added several resources about the company. So for example, I added some information about our history, our values, our goals. Also, I detailed them, and then I added general information about the location, the office hours, the code of conduct, the travel and expenses if you are, for example, I don't know, a consultant, and so on. So you can add whatever you want in your space. And here, if you check it, I added a link to my page just by dragging and dropping the link here. When you are in the page, you're just going to edit the page and just copy paste that link. It's going to be showed this way. We do encourage like people to add links within the pages. Even thought like if you're in the space, you are going to have this left bar. It's going to list the pages existing, but still we do encourage a lot of people like to add links in the pages. This way, like the person who is reading, which is reading, like it's not going to get lost and is going to find links wherever they are navigating within the different pages. He's going to find the links and the needed links. Additionally, I created a second page. I named it Global HR, like the HR policies. I included here information about the leave and time off, the health and wellness, the procedures, and all the information about our internal policies. I added them in the tables here. And then I also created an onboarding plan by role. So we do advise a lot people who are creating content for the onboarding in Confluence and Space specifically to split the onboarding plan by role. So for example, here I created, for each role, I created a page: business analyst, customer support agent, support scrum master, team lead, whatever. And then for each page, I'm going to create the resources under it as a child page. So here I do have my landing page. You can add information about who to contact. For example, if there are some checklists, like the person who is going to do its onboarding, he's a new business analyst in the company, and he's going to get onboarded like in the coming month. He can check some few checklist like to pick. And then I added information under this page where I created, for example, my first steps like guide, and then I added some how-tos related to my business, for example, how to write the documentation. And so the thing which is great with Confluence, like you do have a lot of templates like you can use. For example, if I'm a business analyst, when I create a new page, I can use like out-of-the-box templates that are proposed by Confluence. Like you do not have to use apps, for example, for this. There are the how-to templates are existing by default in Confluence. The handbook is also existing as a template, as a default template in Confluence. So you can play with them. For example, here we have the how-to template. If I scroll down here, I'm going to see this template. When I click, it's going to be directly injected in my page, and then I can play with it. There are some instruction and some placeholders that I can fill, and I can customize after by adding additional sections. And so it's really, really helpful, and it's really like it makes the creation of this content and those materials really easier, like without creating like something from scratch and starting from a blank page. This is an example of what you can create as out of the box when you are having Confluence. And from our side as Vectors, we have been going through those process as our own company. So we found out that probably people, when they are new hires in the company, they do have a lot of questions. So we developed an app called FAQ for Confluence. These apps give you the ability like to structure all your question and responses within a space. And what I did here in my landing page, I just embedded those questions here, and they do like look like this within the page. So if a hire is going to come in the landing page, he's going to find a list of questions. He can filter, for example, he's going to check for office hours. He can find directly the question he's searching when he's opening it. He's going to find the information related to his to his question, and then he can scroll, or he can like navigate within the content by group it by FAQs, by theme, or by category. And this is embedded within the page. But when you install the app first, the first experience is going to be listed here under the apps menu. You will be having like a dedicated view where you will be adding your questions. So if you're going to install for the first time FAQ, you're going this view, and then you are going to have this add button. When you are going to click on it, you just select the FAQ, like to add your question on your category, if it's existing, or you can create it, and then you just add your question and the answer related to your question. We do have support for rich media content, so you can structure your question. You can add images, you can add videos. Many of our customers has been requesting for having links, which is really useful because in the response probably you will be having a redirecting your hire to links and to other documentation. So once added, it's going to be listed here, and then you do have those additional two views to see your question either grouped by FAQ. You can group them by theme. Some people do group them by language. For example, if it's a multinational company, you're going to have like by country or by language. And if I click here, I'm going to get all the questions related to HR displayed this way. I can show them directly, or I can like collapse them at the check. And here you do have the option like to add your question from this menu. And in my landing page, using the macro called FAQ listing, you can embed your FAQ in every page you want. So I'm going to switch on the edit point for this page. You can just drop that macro in the page, and then you're going to have the listing of their FAQ here and checking how it works. So this way, it looks like this. Those FAQ listing is going to be listed this way. So if you are also, you can use it embedded in the page here, or you can go also to the advanced search within Confluence. So if you click here, so you are able to search for your FAQ content by, for example, checking for category. I don't know. I'm an onboarding like manager, and I want to share the question related to the remote work. So if I click here, I'm going to list directly the question related to the category remote. I can share this link directly on Slack, or I can embed it to a page or whatever. So it's flexible this way. It's also available on anonymous mode, which is very important. Many people have been requesting this feature because they want like to have their hires are not directly onboarded within Confluence. They don't have access directly, so they open the space to anonymous access. So this way people can take those questions and search for the first time they are coming to the company, at least get some small information. Voila, so that's it. Mainly those are the best practices. So try to group the information in a unique space, try to split in their like pages, so you can play with it as much as you want. So you are able to create as much as you want pages, so you can use the templates. It's really helpful. And you do have the FAQ app where you can structure all your questions, so the persons can check the question directly on this interface, or they can check them within the page if you want to embed them using the macros or via the advanced search. Voila, if you do have any question, I'm available anytime. So thank you. I'm getting back the screen sharing. Voila.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Okay, Prabhu, please.
Excellent. That's a great demo, Malak. Good job. Let me share my screen here. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So let me set the context and I'll quickly jump into the demo. When it comes to HR workflows, the key things are: one, first, can we simplify the integration? Usually that's a long pole in the tent. Like, how can I pull employee data from a HR system like Workday, SAP, ADP, Bamboo HR, etc., depending on the organizational size and what they use. The other thing is applicant tracking. A lot of organizations start hiring right from the applicant tracking or a recruitment system. The popular ones in the US are JobWide, Greenhouse, Lever, etc. So how do we pull in this HR information to kickstart onboarding, offboarding, relocations, transfers, etc.? So that's one integration as a initial friction point. Second is customization and configuration. What I mean by that is, I may have a hiring. I want to onboard someone into the organization, but that particular person could be a full-time person, a contingent worker, an intern, etc. Right? It can have different types based on role or a function. So how can I have an onboarding for, let's say, a technical developer that is highly customized than having an onboarding for a salesperson? How does that look like? So that's the customization and configuration. The third is the productivity improvement, which is automation. Meaning, can I automate certain HR tasks so that I can have our HR team members as well as IT team members focus on high value work? What I mean by that is, let's say, for example, is somebody hired. I want to create a new user profile for that particular employee in Okta, or an identity management system like Google Workspace or Microsoft Active Directory. Can I automate that task instead of assigning to an IT engineer and creating those user profiles? This is the area Onward apps, specialize in. How can I simplify the integration where I can natively connect to HR systems? How can I provide a customized and a personalized onboarding experience? And how can I automate the common repetitive HR tasks? And those are the areas that I'm going to show in the demo as well. The other thing is, as we think through these data sets, right, an employee could be even be defined as an asset. And how can I associate various metadata attributes of that candidate, like what I call organization data, like the departments, the functions, the job categories, the metadata about who is the manager, where that belongs to, etc. And at 360-degree, if we pull in all the other asset level information, the same application that we are going to talk about can be used to do these type of asset sync, where you can pull in not only the device and the assets information, but also HR data into assets in JSON. So let me switch my screen here. As I mentioned, the first step in using our application starts with connections. Our apps are built as completely Atlassian Forge native apps. So essentially, if you connect a particular data source, for example, Workday or Bamboo HR or Google Workspace, it connects directly from customer's instance to their HR systems. There is no third party data where it goes outside of an environment. External compute or storage is not involved. Like any other integrations today, it's a very simple setup. You provide the API credentials of your instance, and the connection is established. Depending on the applications, there are specific parameters to pass, and we have detailed in the documentation. Once those connection parameters are set, you will see the message whether it is able to be successfully connected or not. So that's the first step. Like, with a very few configuration parameters, with no coding, no scripting involved, you are able to connect to your HR system. Second is the library of tasks. What we have done is, for the common onboarding, offboarding, and task activities, we compiled a list of tasks the customer can pick and choose that is relevant for the organization. Setting up emails, ordering keyboard, creating worker profiles, setting up payroll, assigning office cubes, providing user provisioning, etc., etc. So it's a decent list of tasks that customers can use it, or they can add their own tasks that are very specific. A lot of our customers use both the option. They select that are relevant for them from the task library and add their own tasks for to meet their internal requirements. This is where you start to putting together the connection and the task together. For example, as I said, I can have a onboarding flow for a full-time employee. I can have a flow for sales or a contingent worker. I can have flow for offboarding, like voluntary terminations, involuntary terminations, etc. So think of this as your customized personalized experience that you want to give based on a role, function, or a location of the employees. Let me open up a flow. A flow is nothing but a collection of tasks that I want to execute when a specific criteria is met. So, what we have done is, based on the connections that we have established, we are able to now have a trigger based activity, meaning when somebody is hired in a HR system like Workday, the system will be able to immediately trigger and know that that event happened, and it can start to execute. Similarly, if somebody is terminated, that event will be able to available. Our system is able to identify it and start executing. So these are all the triggers that are available by default from the system. And once that event matches, we can say, "Hey, start executing these tasks." And these tasks can be added, removed based on from the library that I just walked through. What we have is, each of these tasks can be customized to use issue type or request type depending on customers JSM instance or Jira Work Management instance. So that way they have full flexibility in terms of the deployment model they choose. We also have basic setup, like for this particular task that will be created, assigned to a specific user by default. It can also be from the field, so that way it becomes dynamic. We also have advanced functionalities for due date and task conditions. For example, I want to order business cards, but I want to do it only 3 days before the start date. So in that scenario, I would come and set a task condition that, hey, this particular task I want to execute only certain days before. This is very valuable when compliance related task comes in. For example, software provisioning. I don't want to enable software provisioning as soon as a profile is created. I want to create maybe 1 day before somebody's start date, etc. But whereas on the laptop, I want to order the laptop 7 days before somebody joining the organization, so that way there is no delay in the day one start of it. So you have that provision to configure time based HR tasks, so that it will each will start to execute based on the configuration you have set up. We also have additional functions in terms of mapping, so that way each of your systems, if you have used custom fields on your HR systems and you want to map those specific fields in your JSM or Jira instance, you have that functionality. So we made it like pretty flexible and easy to use to meet your customer requirements. Now let me show you how that runtime looks like. Like now it's all good. You have created a flow, we have created a trigger condition and added a set of flow, right? So, for example, let me run this one. And, it will pull based on a new hire. Let's say in this case, I, pull the HR, new hire information. And what we have done is, if you see here, there are no tasks created, right? What we have done is we have deeply integrated to the post functions within the JSM Jira functionality. So organizations have full control on approvals, state transitions, how they want to execute the onboarding experience. So for example, in this case, we have tied the on-ramp task to the state transition of start progress. So when I say, okay, I want to create an onboarding experience for this particular new hire, this is where it will start creating the tasks. So it will now start executing the on-ramp flow that I just showed through. and you will see the task getting created. Again, this is something completely configurable where organizations can set their post functions depending on their workflows and compliance. Let me refresh. So you will see the tasks are getting created, and each of those tasks are as child tasks in the organization, like in the parent task. So the parent task, you have the full visibility, and each of these tasks that are getting created will attach to the parent task, so you have that full link and the reference capabilities as well. And at this point, each of these tasks are full platform level functionalities, meaning you can create your own fields, you can change the view, use of additional other apps, etc. It has the full functionalities that you can leverage of your Jira JSM platform. Let me quickly walk through the workflow, the post function as well. So as I mentioned, this is the power of our application where all these automations can be accomplished. Like for example, any custom workflow that the customer has it, we can attach to a specific step transition. So for example, a customer can say that, hey, only upon an approval or reaching this step, start doing the automation, right? Say for example, we attached it to the post function when the work in progress step has started. All the automations that I just walked through are available to add. For example, you can add a worker profile in a Workday system. You can create a user provisioning in Okta. You can terminate an employee in Bamboo HR. You can create a user in Google Workspace. All those methods, specific methods for all these applications are available. For example, Okta, I can create a user, I can deactivate, I can add to a user group provisioning with no coding or low level custom mapping required. It's all configuration based. And once that post function is set up and added to your workflow, the automation is automatically enabled. Hope this is useful. Happy to take any questions. And over to you, Selena.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you all. And so now question time. We had one question from Marcel. Chris already answered him, but maybe we can read it. So, how are your experiences with Jira and Confluence automation for handling onboarding related tasks? And Chris said that automation in standard plan has execution limitation. Another to consider is who will design and update the content for the templates. Dedicated app might be better for business users. Any more questions? If yes, just type them on the chat and we will read them. And if some questions will appear in a time, you can always catch up with us on LinkedIn. We will be happy to answer. Okay, Marcel is typing, so maybe we can wait a little bit. Okay, thanks, Marcel, for nice words. No more questions, so maybe one more. We can wait. So in the meantime, of course, we recorded this. You will get in a follow-up email recording, and also our ebook that we all together created with more and more material like this. So it will be in your follow-up email. Thank you, Yogita. Thank you, Marcel. Okay. Okay, so I think we had it. Thanks for an insight. Thank you. Okay, so thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Malek. Thank you, Chris. It was great. Thank you for all our attendees, and see you at the next events.
Awesome.